Welcome again. It's the Sue and Sheila show again. Look who's back.
Yay! So glad to be here.
I'm so glad to have you back. I floundered for 3 weeks by myself.
Well, and then you went and tried to find Area 51 and almost got arrested.
I did do that. I did do that. But I cleverly figured out how to do shows, pre-record them, and then release them.
I saw that.
I felt like I was really doing something that I was not even in town when I was releasing them. So that was fun. I don't want to violate any laws or anything. You want to tell anybody who's interested where you've been? That we didn't break up.
Anyone that has followed my social media knows that my family we're 3 weeks today. Was my positive COVID, and it was really bizarre. I think that COVID is going to hit you wherever your weakness is. So with me, when I get the flu, I'm always like really tired and just worn out, and that's how I was. Elizabeth, by the way, happy birthday, Princess Elizabeth. She's 23 today.
Elizabeth.
Hers was her allergies and her migraines.
That's what happened to me.
Earl's became COVID pneumonia immediately. He's had a phlegm issue all his life. I will tell everyone, get a plan. Plug for Express Care of Bellevue.
Yes, plug for Express Care. But they need treatment right away.
Exactly.
Do not wait. If you think you're sick,
Elizabeth's boyfriend he lives in Wildwood, he went to the UF freestanding clinic, the freestanding ER down there. People think, okay, it's not attached to the hospital, it's not an ER. And thought he was going, I guess, to an Express Care. Tested positive, and they said, come back when you have symptoms. So 6 days later, he almost couldn't walk in the door. Had been hospitalized for pneumonia 2.5 years ago. Has a high BMI. Get a plan. If you call your healthcare provider if they do not treat COVID. Find that out before. But anyway,
yeah.
But yes,
go to an express, a doc in the box kind of thing, and just get on antibiotics right away. I mean, I would like to know the studies or the statistics of how many people have passed away that waited. And I have several friends that recently passed, and they were single men that waited to get treatment, thinking it'll pass, like men do, just it's not that bad, and it'll be okay. And
but anyway, I'm glad to be back.
You look good. So
thanks.
You're a survivor too. I'm glad.
Yes,
Thank
so
you.
are you.
So I missed you.
I missed you too. I missed you too.
And we got 7 days left. Is it 7? Today's Tuesday. Wednesday.
Yep.
Today's Wednesday.
Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, September 21st, is finally D-Day for voting in the city of Ocala. And right now, 9% have already voted by mail, which normally we see about a 10% voter turnout in city races.
Yes, so there's 38,257 registered voters in the city limits. 3,731 have already voted. And
it's generally between 4,500 and 6,000. So it'll be interesting to see. I think because of the 4 seats that are up, which is not normal, and the controversial mayor race, I think that's why we're seeing so much scandal and interest and trauma and drama.
It has been drama filled. Normally there's either 2 or 3 city council seats. Of course, Matt Wardell vacated his seat, and so there's actually 4 city council seats up and the mayor. Which I don't know that that's ever happened in the city.
Well, and we've never seen such a highly contested mayoral race. Is that the politically way that I should be saying that? Being that it's Manalfa Corey versus Kent Gwynn incumbent, and there has just been a lot of controversy surrounding that.
It has.
I don't know how else to put it.
Well, and it's been polarizing. It's very, when I look at social media, it's very it's a very contentious. It's a very contentious race. A lot of hit pieces. Y'all can't see it, but I've got I live in the city, so I've got
we're going to talk about the flyers.
Yeah, I've got a dead tree laid out here with all the flyers.
But I have to say, some people, I'm not going to say who, but are running a very good race.
They are.
They are running a very good race. I was just talking to my people that I work with in Tallahassee today, and they were like, "Why do you think that is?" And I said, somebody got educated on campaigning And, there are campaign schools throughout the nation. I've put on a campaign school myself a few years ago, and people do go to campaign school to learn how to campaign. And one of these contestants, I believe, did that because she's out there. She's doing it. So let's talk about some of these flyers. I've been seeing people complain on Facebook about, like you said, having a tree mailed to their house. And, it's going to yet to be determined till Tuesday whether or not flyers win races or not, because all of these campaigns have been totally different. There have been big money campaigns. There have been ground campaigns. There have been, highly supported by union campaigns, and those
definitely the gamut.
Those who've raised no money campaigns, and then those who are throwing stones, and then people who are just outright whining and bitching. And it's YouTube, so I can swear. And yeah, let's talk about this. You want to talk about the negative ones first?
Well, and I thought there was one that's a little puppet on the
I
side.
wish you would have brought the Puppet Master one, because I was on the phone with my friend Justin Grable earlier today, and he was kind of sticking it to me that, he actually had a flyer about himself, and I haven't had that as a consultant. He was like, I said, I know. I said, you got to be called the Puppet Master, and Stan Hansen gets to be called the wizard behind the curtain, and I just get to be called the bitch or whatever they call me. I get nothing. Justin got a whole damn flyer about himself.
Give it time. Give it time.
It's coming.
It's coming.
People call me names in public parks.
And some of these, the Manal pieces, is more, I think, about her donations and who she's contributed to, Rashid Tlaib and Charlie Crist. And
has there only been one of those?
There's been a second one, and again, I don't have
so
that
there's
one.
only been 2 negative against her. That's interesting.
Correct. The latest one is this former Congressman Keith Ellison, and there's some stuff out there right now about him that he's holding an Antifa playbook. And so that race, I think, has been the ugliest.
Do you think that one's been the ugliest? See, I think the Barry Mansfield Brent Molliver has been, as far as mudslinging. Brent has been hammering poor Barry. Yeah. I mean, and sort of, Jay Mosley, he keeps getting lumped in, poor guy, to, and this was the first dual one.
That was
wasn't
the
there
full
one today?
Yeah, it was the first one.
Then today they did it right, and they didn't add. They just did the 2 that they were going against. They didn't promote their opponents like they did on this side. Mm-hmm. So this one is strictly just a hit on Jay Mosley and Brent Molliver, and then this one is a promotion of Ty Schlichter and Barry Mansfield as a hit on Jay Mosley and Brent Molliver. Mm-hmm. And then I think there were 2 more hits on Barry that Brent did individually.
Well, and this one, we have, Brent and his lovely bride, and then on the other side, they kind of lumped
everybody together. I'm surprised my picture wasn't on there.
Mansfield. They kind of lumped Mansfield and Schlichter and brought out some of the negative complaint issues about.
And is that a mugshot?
And that is. His mugshot, and Mr. Schlichter can be a little
disrespectful.
Thank you. He can be disrespectful, and
mainly to women. He's not disrespectful to men. He's very disrespectful to women.
Yeah, he's kind of misogynistic, I think, that way. But he went after a very dear friend of mine and threatened her, and I don't have a lot of nice things to say about Mr. Schlichter. And if you're going to be a city councilman, how are you going to respond to your constituents when they come before you? And so if you can't suck it up as a candidate when there was nothing that was...
Well, and part of the issue was he was upset because people were talking about his public record battery charge, which was supposedly a bar fight at Dr. B's 10 years ago. It was more like a tantrum. As a former bar owner, I've been in and had my share of many, many bar fights. He threw a drink in a woman's face. let's go back to the disrespectfulness of women. He threw a drink in a woman's face, the bartender. Security came right over. He claims the security guard put him in a headlock, and I'm not saying the security guard didn't. I happen to know the security guard, very big guy. Mr. Schlichter's not that big of a guy.
No.
And he was able to bite the security guard. So if he claimed he was being choked, if you're being choked, I don't know how you can bite somebody in the back of their shoulder. And then he was able to hit the bouncer with a bar stool. So that's a lot if you're in a headlock. So is that constitute a bar fight? No. Does it constitute a tantrum? In my mind, yes. But he didn't want that to be discussed, and it was public record. It was sent out to all of the media. I think he tried to have it expunged, and it didn't get expunged in time for the campaign. And so he got very angry at some people who were discussing it. But we have the right to discuss it. You're a candidate.
And it was, September 2nd of 2010.
Yeah.
So he was a much younger man, and we all have done things that we probably wouldn't want
Not
to
everybody
discuss.
has mugshots.
Well, not everybody has a mugshot.
So.
And so it's like, put on your big boy pants and own it. You
Own
did it.
Because, it's just Tom sat here the other day and he talked about people with foreclosures and bankruptcy. And, it's life. We all have had hardships in life for whatever reason. And, good, bad, or ugly, like you said, we've all done things we're not proud of, but you can't get ticked off because people are talking about it. They have the right. You're a candidate. People talk about everything, whether it's true or false. We've been over that.
Well, and then the sending of someone to his house to someone else's home to confront them, that was a little
inappropriate. And there was a harassment and trespass ordinance filed by that person. So that was another female who was also confronted. So that's 2.5 females because he tried to confront a third female, a friend of mine.
Yes.
And she wasn't available.
That's correct.
So enough of that. Let's move on and talk about some of these others. So who is winning the flyer? Oh, wow.
This is the mayor.
Wow, that's a lot.
The mayor is winning.
Is he sending them every day?
He is. Well, no, but anyway.
I haven't seen any of
But
those.
he's endorsed by our first responders. There was a endorsement by our beloved police chief, Greg Graham. His widow endorsed him, which I thought was very good.
Nice.
The AFL-CIO. Kent.
Did he get the AFL-CIO?
He did.
Did he?
He did.
And you got the firefighters.
The firefighters.
The local firefighters union, as well as the local fraternal order of police. Did he get the IBEW? I don't know if he did. I don't know.
But he's definitely winning in the mailbox. Manal.
So yeah, what's Manal?
Manal
There's
is
Manal?
No
way. She's not sending out flyers.
Well, not to me. So
put it in the comments if you've gotten any Manal flyers.
Yeah, we would love to
I'd
see
also
that.
love to hear in the comments how you feel about the flyers. If you think it's what sways you to win an election or to vote for a certain candidate.
And that would be an interesting thing. We owned Earl's Tent and Signs downtown Ocala for almost 20 years, and of course, so we think signs work. That was our business, and so that would be interesting to see.
Why people vote. Put it in the comments why you vote. Do you vote because you think the sign is attractive and it caught your eye and you vote for that? Or do you vote based on 72 mailers from one candidate that you get in the mailbox? Or do you vote because you actually met the person in real life, or you know them, or you know somebody who does know them? Be interested to know the science behind that.
Absolutely. And Manal Fakori has definitely won. She is winning the money.
Is she still ahead in the money?
$100,470 is what she has.
On a city council race that pays, what does that one pay? $350 a month?
It's $350 a month.
Whatever
Yeah,
it is.
yeah. And it was interesting. This one hit piece that just came out, the new one that with the headlines. It's got all these headlines on it, and one of them was Ocala City Council members ponder pay raise. Well, they make what? $500 a month. What does the city
The
council?
council, like, yeah, 200 or 300.
Yeah, and so
Mayor makes $550, I think, and council
and so they
is-
wanted to raise it like $100, and so some of this, is kind of like.
Well, no, I had
come
heard
on.
that the last vote, and I don't know when this quote was from, but Ira Bethea wanted it to be the same as either school board or county commission.
Well,
somewhere
that's-
around $36,000 or $40,000
And doesn't he also want the city to buy his house?
for $600,000.
Right.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. This is Ocala Fire Chief terminated by the Gazette. Now, what did that have to do? It's since Jay and Brent voted to, well, I get it, but not everybody's going to get that. 'Cause that was
Exactly.
Sandra Wilson. That was
Exactly.
not Jay and Brent. But attorney seeks records for Alexander firing.
But Manal and
Complex
Kent,
sues over new
Manal
fire
Fakori
tax.
and Kent Gwynn have definitely, Kent Gwynn right now is at $89,400. Manal is at $100,470. It's insane.
That's crazy.
I mean, that's city.
A lot of
that,
it's her money. Not a lot of it is local though.
I didn't-
Last I looked, there was a lot from like New York.
But this is like county commissioner money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's definitely, there is a definite divide between who's voting.
Yeah. That is going to be, and I just can't wait till Tuesday at 8:45 when the results are finally in, because it doesn't take long to count a city race. So usually the first dump will be about 7:20, 25.
Or 7:20, 25.
By 8 o'clock, we'll know the crying will begin.
Once all the machines are brought back to the supervisor of elections, they dump those from each machine because there's
only 19. It's not
Right.
like a county commission race.
right, and it's not like they have to come from Salt Springs.
Right.
So it'll be quick.
Yeah, it's always early.
It'll be quick.
By 9 o'clock, it'll all be said and done. So who else? How many does Jim
So-
Hilty have? I see his pile.
So
Does he have a
let's kind of go in order a little bit. So Brent Molliver is at about 28,000. Mansfield's at almost 52,000. Brent and Barry. I've gotten probably 2-1 on Barry. And it's definitely the incumbent versus the businessman. It's.
Well,
And that one has gotten the ugliest.
I just feel like this is excessive. I don't. Am I wrong? Does anybody else feel like this is excessive? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but
And Brent's campaign guy is the king of the nasty hit pieces.
and bad Photoshop. Justin and I laughed about that this morning because the puppet,
Right.
the bad
Right.
Photoshop.
And so that's been an interesting race. We've got District 3. Jay Mosley is the incumbent. And then we've got Rusty Juergens, longtime business owner, and we've already talked about Mr. Schlichter. So
Yeah. So that one will go to a runoff because it has to be 50% plus one vote to be the win. And when there's three or multiples in a race, it'll more than likely go into a runoff till the November general election.
Mm-hmm.
So there was probably just going to be District 3 and District 4 that go into the runoff, those two seats. Everybody else will probably have a winner more than likely next Tuesday without any issues, mayor included. So,
And then we've got District 5. Justin Graybell did not run again, and so that's an open seat. We have former city councilman Jim Hilty that is running, and I've gotten a couple of pieces from Jim. Love the picture of his grandbabies. They are so cute. But we've,
Jim was on the show the other day. He's the consummate gentleman, and
always, and he has done.
he served for 4 years. He served one term on city council already.
He's on the board of the Salvation Army, and he does a lot. He does a lot for Ocala, and really loves Ocala. And then we have businessman Greg Steen, who was
The coffee candidate. He was also here. He wants to be known as the coffee candidate. You obviously didn't watch that show, or you would have known because that was at the end. You had COVID. What else did you have to do?
Well, I had COVID fog that, I will look at something like, I know it's a door, but I cannot pick the word. The thing that really bugged me the most about having is that I lost all sense of taste. Like, I know what something was supposed to taste like, and it was just...
Yeah, I didn't lose the taste or the smell, but I have such bad sinuses I never really smell anyway, so maybe I did. And
I have a
just
friend
didn't know it.
that reached out to me. She had COVID in December and has never got her sense of taste back.
I've heard that about a lot of people.
But Greg is a business owner, is an electrician. He has been endorsed by the professional firefighters. He backs the blue. Yeah. Good guy. He has, and he's been out there. He's been campaigning for 2 years.
Yeah. And either Jim or Greg will be perfect for council. Both of them will be good councilmen. There's not an issue in that race at all. Their temperaments are very much the same. Their personalities are. They're gracious and generous people, giving and definitely give back to their community. Good stewards of the community.
Going back to District 3 for a second, Rusty Juergens, nice guy.
And he's been volunteering with his church and with the city for 30 years.
Jay Mosley is a longtime banker. Same thing.
Rotary member.
So those, Juergens or Mosley, I don't think we can go wrong. And then we've got District 4. And so there are 6 candidates for District 4.
And so diverse.
Yes.
So diverse.
We've got, Mr. Lopez, who...
Young man, nice, articulate, well-versed somewhat, but new to town, like the last year.
Yeah.
And young. The young guys, there's 2 young guys in there, Alex Everts and Lopez, and I think when I say young, they're right around the 30-year-old mark. And not that I have a problem, and Schlichter's young too. Not that I have a problem because I believe young people are capable, but sometimes you need to be in the trenches a little longer for politics. You do. You just need some I don't know. It's hard.
Just life experience.
Life experience. And the volunteer stuff. People don't understand how important the volunteer stuff is. Even if it's just your church or wherever, but the volunteer service goes hand in hand with serving politically, because even though you get a stipend and you get paid a little bit, it is still a gift of service.
It is.
And if you don't look at it like that, that's where you become a crappy politician.
You do.
Yeah.
We've got Curtis Jones. I've known Curtis several years. For many years, he did a feeding on one of the lots downtown Ocala for the homeless.
Again, service.
And did that until the city and the county kind of pulled a fast one, and they're no longer allowed to use that lot.
And he has been one of the funnest candidates that I've ever had to watch, because he's very honest, which I love, brutally honest, and he'll tell you, I don't know, but I'm willing to find out. I'm willing to learn. And all too often, people will not say, I don't know, because they feel like it makes them look stupid, and then they come off with some dumb answer just to be answering. And this guy has made no bones. I mean, he's just like, I don't know. I plan on learning. I will learn. And that's why I'm doing this. And actually, that's the right attitude.
It is, because as someone who has never been in political office, you really don't know. No. You make all these campaign...
And it takes a long time to learn everything.
You make all these campaign promises, and those that know just go... Yeah. You can't do that.
I think it was Jay Mosley and I talked about it the other day on the show that you probably didn't watch. But we talked about how you sit as a former elected that served in that position, and then you sit there and you listen to candidates and you go, government mandate, you can't do that. Government regulation, you can't do that.
Well, there's also, you're only one of 5.
Well, that's
and so
true too.
you can jump up and down and scream and set your hair on fire, but if the other 4 don't
if 2
agree,
of them don't want it,
yeah.
That's exactly, I've talked about that redistricting story and Steve Herring, and that I brought forward to redistrict the school district boundaries, because I knew I was getting ready to divorce, and I owned 2 homes, one on Lake Weir and one in southeast Ocala, and I wanted to move to the house on Lake Weir because it was much smaller for me to handle. And so I called for a vote to redistrict the school system, boundaries for school board members. And my peers agreed, But then when it came down to the actual, we redrew the lines, they voted against me. It was 4-1, and so it didn't get done, which left, because Steve Herring wanted to stay in the Wearsdale-Ocklawaha area, which encompassed Lake Ware, where I wanted to be, and I butted right up with the end of the shores in Ocklawaha, my district, and they voted against me, and then Jackie Porter ended up running against Steve Herring and beating him 6 months later. Had he voted my way.
Talk about contentious politicians.
But, but it's like you say, just because you're one person and I've said this to all of these guys, because they started out with this team approach, like they were going to be a team and everybody was going to win together and all of that, which backfired on all of them that were doing it. But you don't go in as a team, because once you start that, you're violating sunshine when you're elected.
There is
and
that.
It doesn't work like that. So
also in that race, we've got Lori Martin Gregory. Lori is the daughter of longtime radio personality Buddy Martin. Has
Gator, what is it? Gator Nation.
Gator Nation. Is
fourth generation Ocalian.
Is the
Christian conservative.
Very much so. Is the cousin to our tax collector George Albright. Has huge ties to our community. Had lived out of the area for a while and brought her son back here to raise him in Ocala. So we've got Lori Martin Gregory.
In 4.
We've got this is all 4. The seat that's been opened because Matt Wardell has stepped down. We've got Barbara Feitos, and I've got no
Barbara Feitos mailers.
No Barbara Feitos mailers at all.
How much money has she raised? Do we need to look that up?
$6,700.
$6,700. Well, she could have done a mailer.
Yes.
So,
but we've got Barbara Feitos, who was a former county commissioner, ran against Kent Gwynn in the last election cycle
2 years ago,
and Mayor Gwynn was the victor in that. And then we've talked about a little bit about Alex Everett. Alex is actually a certified school teacher,
yes.
and but is not teaching right now. He owns a fence company, hardworking guy, has the cutest little boy. He is adorable. Alex is just a really good guy. And then we've got Kristen Dreyer, who is running. She is a realtor and is running as well. So I don't think there's any way that I think that one is definitely going to a runoff. There's no way with 6 candidates.
Without a doubt. Now it'll only come down to 2. Again,
right, it'll be the top 2.
But that one will go into a runoff for sure. So, who knows how? And that's going to be split. You think about it. Is Lopez also a Democrat?
Lopez.
Feitos is a Democrat. Lopez is a Curtis
and
Jones.
Curtis Jones.
So 3 Democrats, 3 Republicans in that race. 1 staunch conservative, 2 moderates.
A partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah. So that one will be. I can't. Justin and I talked about that too. I was like, I can't call that one. I said, I just spent a week in Vegas and lost a lot of money, and I'm not even willing to bet on that one. I'm not betting that one.
And so it's going to be an exciting day. So there is no early voting. Tuesday is the day. If you have not requested a vote by mail ballot,
it's too late.
Unlike California, the vote by mail ballot actually has to be at the supervisor of elections office on Tuesday. California,
are they still able to mail theirs in California?
California, they had to be mailed.
I spent 2 days in California. I should have voted while I was there.
I know, but
I was trying to consult with Caitlyn Jenner. That was my goal.
And you failed.
I failed. We were going to Malibu. I was going to consult.
But there is a drop box at the supervisor of elections that is locked. It is safe. So if you've ordered a vote by mail ballot, you can drop that off this late in the game. If you truly want your vote to count, don't mail it.
I'd go to the polls.
I would not mail it. You can take it to the supervisor of elections office or go to the polls. And so they're open 7 to 7. So you can do it before work, after work, but Tuesday is it. No early voting. And I meant to look to see if the supervisor of elections is open for voting that day. I would think it would be, but you would need to go to votemarion.gov and make sure.
Are they in the city, or is that right at the county line?
No, it's definitely in the city.
So they should be a precinct then.
They are never a precinct.
No, they're only open for early voting. And then they close on election day.
Correct.
Not
So
close to voting. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, so they're not a precinct.
yeah, no, they're definitely
We
not
need.
precinct.
We're going to wrap this up in a minute, but next time get where the precincts are. There's only 19 of them, so we can
Correct.
go over the locations and do that.
And if you do not know where you vote, again, go to votemarion.gov. You go
Now,
to
is
where do I vote, and you'll type in your house number. But surely everyone that's listening and everyone that's interested in,
votemarion.org.
they changed it.
Oh, then
They
maybe
changed
you can
it.
get to it on both of them.
Yes. But, I would assume anyone that is interested in this race has probably voted before. Because the city of Ocala race is always off cycle, people forget.
Oh, .com too. All of them.
Yeah. So definitely vote. It's an important race. Again, 5 of the 6 seats are open. This is a time, if you do not like your incumbents, vote them out.
Well, this is a time for any kind of change, and
And if you don't vote, you do not
get to
complain.
That's right.
So
All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up unless you have something else
I do not.
pressing. Thank
I
you
do
for
not.
bringing all of your garbage
Yeah,
to
it's-
discuss. And
I'll-
like I said, let us know in the comments what stems you to vote for a certain person. Do you do the research? Do you look at their signs? Do you read these? Do you read them or trash them or burn them like Tom does?
And I've worked precincts for years now, and it's amazing the people that drive by really slow and look at the people waving at them, and you can see them like write stuff down, and it's like they're voting based on, people vote based on the
Who's on the
sound,
corner?
the sound of someone's, who's working the corner, the sound of someone's name, or
I had a dear friend who she insisted she voted based on the colors of their sign and whether they were pretty or not. God love her. So, all right. Well, Sheila, I'm glad you're back.
I'm glad you
Did
didn't get
miss
arrested
you.
in Vegas
Or
and
abducted by aliens.
or
I couldn't get abducted by the cartel in Costa Rica. I'm trying. Nobody wants me. It's the easiest.
I want you.
Thank
It's
you.
fine.
Well, I love you. Thank you all for
Thank you.
watching. If you're still there with us, and we will probably be back one day, I guess.
Soon.
We'll see. And one day we'll have a name for the show. All right. Thanks, guys.
See ya.